Hey, this is Bo Eason with you with Todd Durkin's Impact Show. I just wrote a book called There's No Plan B for Your A Game, and you know that to be true. Watch the podcast.
All right, we are back. This is Todd Durkin with the Todd Durkin Impact Show, and you are in for a special treat today. Folks, when you talk about being the best in the world at what you do, I talk about it all the time. What's it going to take to be the best in the world at what you do? And I'm always scouring the planet, looking for athletes, entertainers, authors, leaders, everyday fitness enthusiasts, people who are committed to be the best. And let me tell you what, today you better buckle up the bootstraps because I got my man, Bo Eason, in the house. And this is going to be a great episode. I'm telling you what, you better be ready to go. And I don't know if you're out jogging right now, it's going to turn into a sprint. If you're lifting weights, you're going to be like going for PRs today and maxes. Maybe you're on the airplane and you're like, you're going to start doing jumping jacks in the aisle. But let me tell you what, today's episode is absolutely going to rock your world. Coaches, trainers, fire-breathing dragons. Do you sometimes feel like you're on an island? Do you need to accelerate and catapult your results in your business or life? Are you stuck, challenged, or frustrated with your currently at? You want to amplify your dreams and achieve even more? If so, I want to invite you to my 3.5-day live mentorship program. It only happens one time a year, and it's coming up this November 7th through the 10th right here in beautiful, sunny, warm San Diego, California. You can bring a teammate, you can bring your whole team, or you can just bring yourself. If you're ready for my deepest and most intensive program that I offer, now is the time to apply for this life-changing event. You can go to www.todddurkin.com/live-mentorship19 for all the details and to apply. Don't miss out. There are early bird specials right now, and there's some tremendous bonuses. Take advantage of them. Remember, todddurkin.com/live-mentorship19. I'll see you in San Diego in November. Be there. Hey guys, today's episode is sponsored by my friends over at Carnison Beta-Alanine. Let me ask you a question. Who's looking to amp up your workout routine, your training routine? You want to get stronger, faster, more explosive? You want to improve your endurance? Well, my friends, Carnison Beta-Alanine is an ingredient found with many of the top pre- and post-workout supplements. Along with the right training program and the proper nutrition, you got to eat right. Carnison Beta-Alanine is going to help build your strength, endurance, and your power. How do you do it? Well, essentially 3.2 grams a day. You want to essentially get 90 grams over a 28-day period, about 3.2 grams per day, and you're going to love the way you feel on it. I've been using it for over 20 years, literally on my workout days, on my non-workout days, and I endorse it heavily with my athletes. Why? Because when you're looking for the edge and when you expect the best out of your body, you got to make sure you eat right, you train hard, you're constantly living inspired. And my friends over at Carnison Beta-Alanine have the best product on the planet. Over 55 independent studies show that it has zero banned substances. That's an important thing. You always want to put the right stuff in your bodies. Go to team.carnison.com. Check it out in the Find It section. You go to your local health food store or just go to team.carnison.com and pick some up today. Bo, are you there, my man?
I am here, Todd. I'm hydrated. I already got my workout in. I'm ready to go, baby.
Well, I first off want to congratulate you. You just came out with your book last week as we are recording this. There's no plan B for your A game, being the best in the world at what you do. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. It's been pretty exciting. My first book, and putting all the secret weapons in there that I've learned over the last 58 years, and it's been a blast.
Well, man, I sunk my teeth into that, and I couldn't get enough of it, and I highly recommend it. If you do not know Bo Eason, let me give you a little bit of a background, guys. First off, Bo Eason played 5 years in the NFL, was an NFL All-Pro, an All-Pro guy, and I love the story. I actually knew Bo, your brother Tony Eason. And how long did he play in the league?
He played 9 years. Played at New England, took them to their first Super Bowl in '85, and then at the very end of his career, played for the Jets.
That's right. And I was going to give a little trivia. 1985 Super Bowl Bears, William the Refrigerator Perry, Singletary, Jim McMahon. Who was the opposing quarterback for the Patriots? Yes, Tony Eason. So it's a great
right.
story. And how about that? Bo and Tony both playing in the NFL. Mom and dad must have been so proud of you guys, man. What a great story. And
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that, my mom and dad, because Todd, that the reason for the title of the book is my mom. She's the reason that the title is "There's No Plan B," and that's just how we were raised. Like, we didn't have any choice. We had to be top, or there was nowhere to go, man.
well, you talk a lot about your mom and dad in the book, and I've known you for several years. I first learned about you when I was at Idea World. I think it was 2015. You keynoted. And Bo, you probably don't remember this, but I was in that room and I was mesmerized looking at this former NFL player up on stage, and you were like backpedaling on stage and you were telling this a most amazing story. And I was like sitting on the edge of my seat listening to you. And I'm like, man.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's cool. That's like the best part of public speaking for those public speakers out there is your physicality, because that's what people pay attention to a lot more than what's coming out of your mouth.
That's right. Peter Davis, who was the then president and founder, Peter was like, Todd, you need to connect with Bo. You and Bo would like to you need to get together and have a beer or something together, because you guys just need to connect. And sure enough, not long after, actually just earlier this year, had the opportunity to go to Bo's live event, Personal Story Power. My good friends Diane Halfman and Carrie Monsieur invited me, and oh my goodness, Bo, that was like the most amazing live event I've ever been to. You talk about physicality. You went on for like days and days talking about crafting up your story. That was a great event.
Yeah, that was a fun event. I was really excited that you were in that audience too. Once I found out, I looked at you a couple of times, and there's over 100 people in there, and I kept looking over. I go, I know this dude. I know this. It was so funny to find out it was you, and our background and commonality. So it was cool to have you.
I love what you're doing. I love your story. And guys, after Bo finished in the NFL, check this out. He created a play. He wrote a playwright. He went on Broadway, and runt of the litter, he became an award-winning, not only actor, playwright. He went to 50 different cities, and journals and magazines across the land went on to rave about Bo and what he was doing. And I remember at the Personal Story Power live event, you sharing clips with you and Dawn, and you guys were like a two-person band all over the place. What spurred you on to do that?
You know what happened at the end of my NFL career? I had 7 knee surgeries while I played, and the last one was really bad. And as I was in the Orange Bowl in Miami playing the Dolphins, and I was being wheeled off of the field. And the only thing I could see in my future, because I knew this was probably it, I was like, man, what I do best in the world is hurt people. And that does not translate too well to the civilian world. So I just thought, as I was being wheeled off on the stretcher, I thought, I've got to find a place to express myself physically so that I can make a living and avoid prison all at the same time, right? So I immediately moved to New York and took every theater class I could possibly take. And everywhere I went, I wanted to study the art of expressing myself with my mouth and with my body on a stage so that I could be the best at that and actually, make a living doing that. And that's why I did it.
There was a story you told about that. Who was in the front row at one of your shows when you finally said, oh my goodness, I can't believe he's actually at the play?
Yeah. A guy that most of you have maybe never heard of named Al Pacino was right there, the Godfather himself. And he gave me, he broke down way back when here's what I did. I went to my classmates in theater schools and all my acting classes and my writing classes. I asked them, I said, who's the best on stage? Who's the best stage performer of our time? And everybody at that time, this was 1990, everybody said, well, that's Al Pacino. And I said, that's cool, man. Where is he? And they were like, I don't know where he is. And I said, I need to talk to him because I want what he's got. And you know this better than anybody, Todd, that if you want what somebody's got and they're the best at what they do, you better go find out what the heck they're doing and how they got there. And that's what I did. I went to Al Pacino and I said, hey, man, teach me. Tell me what to do because I want to be the best like you're the best now. And he goes, he told me how to do it. It took 3 hours, but he broke down 15 years for me. And at the end, I shook his hand. I said, thank you, Al Pacino, for teaching me what it takes to be the best. I'm going to go do this. And I said, I bet you performers come to you all the time. Every day performers come to you, Al, and say, hey, man, can you make me the best? He goes, no one's ever come to me and suggested that. No one's ever made that request. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, because when I wanted to be the best safety in the world, or when my brother wanted to be the best quarterback in the world, we just went and found that person, you know, and said, tell me how to do it. So Al Pacino told me. It took 15 years. My play opened in New York. On opening night, Al Pacino and I make eye contact, and he's sitting in the audience. And I hadn't seen him in 15 years. But he told me what to do 15 years ago. And I just did what he said. And sure enough, where do you end up? You end up on the top, just like the mentor who told you you'll end up on the top if you do what he says.
Right.
That's what I did. And so Al Pacino and I had that nice moment I had like an out-of-body experience. I'm on stage trying to remember my next line, and I'm looking at The Godfather, and he's like looking at me like, you know, like critiquing me as in the silence, you know? So funny.
Oh, how did the runt of the litter and playing in the NFL translate into what you're doing now? You're a speaker, you're coaching a lot of people on, I'll call it as a life. I'm just going to call it a life transformer, Bo. You are transforming people's lives, and you're now an author. So how did the runt of the litter and also the NFL prepare you for what you're doing now?
Because the principles of being the best, regardless of discipline, the principles of being the best are exactly the same, regardless of what occupation you have.
Love it.
That's really why I wrote this book, Todd, because I want people to understand that, see, our media and our world and our society keeps telling people that if they can be the best, they should only be it at one thing in a lifetime. And I just think that's just, once you learn or master the principles of what it takes to be the best, then all those principles translate into the next occupation, regardless of what that is. Here's the problem. Most people don't take that mastery with them. I remember, Todd, when I went from being an NFL player, so I achieved that at a certain level, right? And I took the same principles that it took me to be one of the best safeties into being the best playwright and stage performer. And people didn't think that would translate, but it did, because the principles are the same. I know how to show up. I know how to work. I know how to follow a timeline that's multiple years. And no one else did. So all those kids I was in acting class with, they all quit because it didn't work out for them after 1 year of training. I said, no, I'm going to take 15 years, but I'm going to be at the top, not at the mediocre level.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I took what it took. I took the principles of being the best safety. I took the principles of being the best stage performer, and I took those into the next occupation, which was to be a speaker and a trainer, and then an author. But I didn't make shortcuts. You know, I wasn't like trying to shortcut anybody. I ran the miles, and those principles show up for you again and again. That's why it's valuable to learn them.
Amen to that. Bo, I'm a huge mindset guy like yourself. And one of my favorite quotes is by Aristotle. And Aristotle talks about, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. I remember you talking about excellence and habit. And one of the things that struck me is something that your father would say to you when you were a young boy. Now, we have a lot of parents listening. We have a lot of kids listening in as well. We have a very diverse listeners from across the globe. Can you just talk about what your dad used to say to you when you were a young boy growing up and how he got in your mindset of how you could be the best at what you do?
Yeah. I'm the youngest of 6 kids, right? So my dad he's a cowboy, a rancher, right? So you can imagine what sort of guy that is, right? Very practical, doesn't talk a lot, but when he talks, you listen, right?
Yep.
And so he would wake us all up, and you can imagine growing up with cattle and sheep and horses, you got to wake up early, right? So my dad would wake up each one of my siblings, all 6 of us, one at a time. And he would go into our bedrooms and he would rub our backs really hard when we were sleeping, 5 a.m. And his fingernails were dirty and his hands were dirty. And he would rub our backs, but he would whisper into our ears and say that he'd say this: "Keep moving, partner. You're the best in there." And then he'd drop a couple of cuss words right there. I don't know why every guy of that era had to end every sentence with foul language, but that's just how they are, He would say, "We're the best in there." He'd say, "Gosh darn it," and he'd rub our back, and we'd pop out of bed and begin whatever chores or whatever training we had. Told us that all my years growing up. So me and my brother, we slept in the same room. So I could hear him coming. I could hear him telling my brother. 18 years I could hear him telling my brother that, and then come over to my bed and wake me up, do the same. And me and my brother would get up and begin to train. So we were embarrassed initially by this. For many years, we were like, why does Dad say that? I don't know why he's got to say we're the best. Then I'd be up to bat in Little League, right? And he would still be yelling it through the backstop. "You're the best in there." And I was the worst player on our team. But he would be screaming it. And all the parents were like, "What's wrong with this guy?" And all the other players were like, "Why does your dad say that?" And I'm like, "I don't know why he says that, because I struck out 3 times." And he kept saying it. And one time, me and my brother were going on our first date. It was my first date. It was a double date. So my brother was driving. He was 16. I was 15. I couldn't drive. We were going to the drive-in with the Tomasini sisters, right? And their dad was the principal of our high school, right? So that was a bad choice just to begin with. But anyway, so the girls are at our house for some reason, and we're going out to the car, walking out to the driveway to borrow my mom's car to go to the drive-in. My dad follows us out on our first date. He follows us to the car, and he's yelling, "You boys, you're the best. You're the best in there." And the girls didn't know what to think. They were like, "This man's crazy. What kind of date is this?" And my whole life, until my dad died. So that was, I think I was 48 when my dad died, like 10 years ago. He said it to his dying day. He would rub us even when we were adults, but he didn't rub us in our beds. Like, I was married and we'd stay over and I'd have kids, Todd. He would wait till I came out to the kitchen.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. So let me ask you now then, as a parent today, how do you do that with your kids? How do you take the message, the mantra that your dad woke you up with? How do you do that with your kids now?
Same exact way. It's the same exact way. I rub them. I rub my kids. I rub them really hard on the back, and I tell them they're the best. Now, my kids go to a Christian school, so I try to drop the foul language.
Axel, you're the best. You're the best. I love it.
That's right. And here's the thing. After a while of hearing that, at one point, you begin to surrender what your father, so for a boy like me and my brother, that's the most important, person in our world, in our life. And he keeps saying it, and you keep being embarrassed by it. One day, me and my brother finally said, "Well, I don't know. Maybe Dad was right all along. Maybe we are the best." And we just kind of surrendered to what he saw in us. And we became that thing that he saw, which was the best. And that is why I want people to know, because most of us, just weren't woken up that way. And I want people to know that they're the same as me and my brother. They were born the same way against insurmountable odds, and we were born the best. I mean, Mother Nature tells us that. And there's no reason why we can come into this world and have to fulfill on some mediocre dream that our culture seems to be promoting to us.
But when you were a boy, I believe you were 9 years old, you drew a picture. You had a vision, and you created a 20-year plan when you were just 9 years old. Can you just share, why did you decide to do that?
Yeah, it was the moment that it happened, the moment that I decided to do that, because I drew a picture. What Todd's talking about is really, it's a declaration. It's almost like the Declaration of Independence.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see this piece of paper, which I still have, it's 50 years old now, right? So it looks like the Declaration of Independence. It's all falling apart. But the declaration was, I drew myself as this best safety in the world, and then wrote that I wanted to be the best safety in the world, right? So the reason that happened, again, was because of my dad. My dad was watching a game on TV, and the game had this running back in it that was the most beautiful kid that my dad had ever seen. And my dad was screaming at the TV, and he was saying, this kid is beautiful. And I never watched my dad watch a game, and I never heard him call anybody beautiful, especially a man. So I charged into the room. I go, what is my dad looking at? What is he yelling at? And you know who it was on the TV? It was O.J. Simpson. It was O.J. Simpson running with the ball. Now, if you look back like 1969, 1970, 1971, 72, you look at O.J. Simpson run with the ball. And my dad was right to be yelling that. Do you remember? We had never seen a runner like that, with those long strides and with just that beautiful elusiveness. And my dad was saying that he was beautiful. And I was like looking at my dad going, why is he talking about this guy being beautiful? And right then, Todd, as a kid who, like all us boys, wanted my dad to look up to me and love me, I decided I'm going to be a safety, and I'm going to stop that dude. I'm going to tackle guys who run with the ball and who are beautiful. And that became my life's quest. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So you talk a lot about declarations. How would you define the difference between a declaration and a goal?
For one, goal isn't enough for me. Personally, I like the word declaration, which is why it's a chapter in the book, and a huge section of the book is because you and I have to declare what we're going to be. No different than our founding fathers did 250 years ago, yet you and me didn't know our founding fathers, right? We never met them. We're probably not related to them, but yet we bring the freedom of America into existence day in and day out. You and me do, and everybody in America does that every single day. They bring the declaration to life. We actually live it into existence. This is the same concept I've done my whole life with my declarations. I declare that I want to be the best in the world at a thing, and then I take many years to fulfill on that. But here's the beauty, Todd. The beauty of a declaration as opposed to a goal is, for a goal, I always feel like you got to make a big to-do list, and then you got to follow that to-do list. Where a declaration, I actually live into. So for example, if I want to be the best safety in the world in 20 years, which that's what I wanted to be when I was 9. On day 1 of that declaration, Todd, I could start to be the best safety in the world. So I would do what the best safeties do. I would talk like the best safeties talk. I would train with who the best safeties train with. I would eat what the best safeties eat. You see what I mean? So for all of you out there, instead of a goal, think more long term. Think of more, what is your declaration of independence? Do you want to run a 4-minute mile? Do you want to be the best dad or mom on the planet? Do you want to be the best violinist in the world? If you do, I just want to tell you, this isn't just me saying this. This is science has backed this up. Those things are all possible in our lifetime if we want to go get it. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's totally accessible if we want to go get it. And I always think, well, damn, why don't we just go get it? What are you and me going to be doing for the next 20 years anyway? Are we just punching a time clock?
Right.
Are we just biding our time until we get sick and end up in a hospital and die eventually? Or do we want to go out being the best at this thing, whatever we decide it is, which is the declaration? But the biggest difference, Todd, between the declaration and goals is the declaration you start to bring into existence on day one. So my son, you know all about Axel, and I know you've got some high achieving kids too, and they have huge dreams, which is exactly what they should have. And his dreams are so big that they've never been done before, right? So he might as well have come to me and Dawn, his mom, Dawn, and said to us, hey, Mom and Dad, I want to be the first man to walk on Pluto. He might as well have said the same thing, because he came to us and said, I want to be the first guy to play in the NBA and the NFL. So that's never been accomplished, but that's what he wants. So we said yes 6 years ago when he was 6 years old. We said, yes, we're behind you. We're going to make it happen. It's going to happen. And so for the last 6 years, Todd, here's the beauty of it. He's not checking off some to-do list for the last 6 years and for the next 10, 11 more years. He is being the best athlete on the planet for the last 6 years. He's being it here, just like you talk about, Todd. It's here. That's right. You've worked with enough of the best athletes on the planet to know that it's never the best athletes on the planet physically that get that job done. It's the ones that have it here.
Absolutely.
And that's who he is being for the last 6 years. So now he's 12, and this is all supposed to happen like around 22 years old, in between 22 and 32, somewhere in there. But he's got the mileage under his belt, and he's got the mindset of what that looks like, what those guys actually are, who they are. Like, the guys that you work with, Todd, like you take a guy like Drew Brees, and you go, like we watched him last night. Axel and I watch him because he is a perfect example of what the best look like. And so what is Drew Brees look like? Like, what does his life look like? Kids, happily married, devoted, unbending, beautiful guy, not necessarily the biggest dude, not necessarily the most physically gifted on the planet. So we watch that and we go, you got to be like Drew Brees. You got to be like that. And that sense of being that your declaration gives you, man, all of us can achieve that. And that way, while you're living out your declaration, no different than the Declaration of Independence, the world is now just waiting to catch up to you. So you and I, Todd, knew that Drew Brees was a top quarterback way before the rest of the world knew he was the best quarterback, right? Tom Brady was being the best quarterback way before we talked about it, right? And now the world catches up and goes, well, Drew Brees and Tom Brady, they're just the best. Yeah, we've known that like 20 years, dude.
Yeah.
We're
I
just,
think, yeah, I think what
and
happens,
that's what's gonna happen to all of us who make our declarations.
right. And I think a lot of times people forget when they see people on TV, whether it be athletes, actors, entertainers, they don't see the behind the scenes, the grind, the grit they have to overcome. You just talked about it, the mindset of a champion, or whatever that is. You talk about being the best in the world at what you do. I love that, Bo, because when you talk about declaration, a declaring that. In my first book, The Impact Body Plan, I talk about a decree. A decree is a statement. It's a statement for what you believe in, and you reverse engineer your success for how you're going to get to where you want to go. And you talk about it, and there's no plan B in your for your A game. Is that reverse engineering and that the mindset? You've heard me say it before, and you saw it last night as we record this when Drew engineered a comeback in the last 30 seconds of a ball game against the Texans. And I've said this to him, I've said it to my own kids, I've said it to all the athletes I work with, is that good players can speed a game up, but the great ones can slow it down.
Yeah.
Good players can speed a game up, but the great ones can slow it down. And if you're a young athlete here today listening into Bo and this episode, or you're a high performer, sometimes when you're a high performer and you're trying to speed things up, sometimes you actually have to slow life down and step away and strategize and make that declaration of who you are. And the words by themselves, by saying, I am the best at what that is. Because if you don't remind yourself, no one else is, unless you're Bo or Bo's dad or myself. Like the mantras, the meditations that you have, the self-talk is because your son Axel's saying that. By him saying that, you say that 1,000 times over and over, sooner or later, it sinks into your DNA. It sinks into who you truly are. And that's huge. So I love that when you talk about declaration, you talk about mindset, you talked about, the belief of what you're going to do. So, man, you talk about it all day in the book, and I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I don't listen. The conversation we're having right now, I often tell groups when I speak to them, when we're talking about what it takes to be the best or what it takes to be world class or what it takes to be, champion in whatever walk of life you're in, I believe this is the only conversation to be having. I do. I love this conversation. I'm obsessed with this conversation because I think we're following the guidelines of that Mother Nature has intended us to do by putting us on the planet. I think I once read this great quote, and it says, if you want to command Mother Nature, then you must obey her. I find that our whole culture, Todd, is flying directly in the face of Mother Nature. Like we're getting so far away from our masculinity, our femininity, our strength, our power. We're apologizing for it. And we're led to believe that being the best is somehow conceited or cocky or too big for your britches. And I just that's just not how we're made. So people say to me all the time, Todd, well, Bo, it's hard to be the best. And I always say, you know what? If you think it's hard to be the best, try being mediocre. That's really hard because it's not in our DNA.
Man, we could speak all day on this. Folks, as you're listening in, what I want you to think about is your declaration. What are you going to be the best in the world at? And what I want you to do, I'm a man of action, is I want you to take action. After you think about it, and after you say it, and after you draw a picture on it, as Bo suggests, I want you to post it. I want you to post it on your social media, and I want you to tag me and tag Bo. And I want to see it. I want to see it and not be bashful about saying it. Like, oh, what are they going to think of me if I say this? Post it. I'll reshare it. Bo will as well. I want to see it because we talk about there's no plan B for your A game, being the best in the world at what you do. Declare it. Declare it. Declare it to your family. Declare it to your teammates. Declare it publicly of this is what you stand for. Here are your core values. This is what you're committed to do on an everyday basis. And when you do that, I want to see it. I want to see what all of you mind rate maniacs, all you fire-breathing dragons out there are committed to be the best at. And whether it's big or small, I think when you declare something, you become it. And that's what Bo in his book is talking about. So, Bo, I'm asking for a call of action by anyone listening in today that if you believe that you're the best in something or want to be the best, you aspire to be the best in something, make the declaration of what it is and then post it. See what you're all about.
I agree. I think that's a great idea because there's something really powerful. We talk about this in the book about going public with private concerns.
Amen.
Like you go public at what you want to be the best at. It's very humbling because a lot of people are against you being the best. Yeah. But your team will show up for you. Those A players, they show up to somebody who has a dream. So in the book, the declaration section is right in the beginning of the book. So if you read that, and it gives you clarity on how to create this declaration and the drawing that Todd's talking about. And then at the end of each chapter, it gives you an action step to take that action physically, to draw it up, to write it up, to put yourself on the top of Mount Everest and look back down the mountain and write a letter about the trials and tribulations that you faced on your way to the top. And that makes you very, very valuable to the world and very attractive to the world. So once you start to declare this and post it publicly, the right people will start to surround you to get you to the top.
Man, amen to that. Hey, if you're listening right now and you're like, hey, Todd, but what if it's like, I just want to be the best dad or be the best mom? Fantastic. If that's what's in you, then that's what it's all about, is declaring and committing to be the best at what you are going to be. Use the hashtag be the best. I'm just coming up with this, by the way, Bo. I'm just like, hey, post it, put hashtag be the best, hit up Bo, hit myself up. But I don't think there's any right or wrong, no judgment. It's about what are you declaring that you want to be the best in the world at? And the best in the world is what you are saying you want to be the best in the world at. And I think that's a great action step for all of our people listening in today. Man.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome too. Look, everyone on that, no one would be on Todd Durkin's podcast if they didn't feel this inside their solar plexus anyway. So I know you feel this, right? You can feel that kind of primitive instinct of you know what it takes to be the best. It's the only reason you're here, right? So fulfill on it, right? Fulfill on your birthright of being the best. And you can get the book at anywhere where you buy books like Barnes and Noble and Amazon, and get to work on that thing, because there's nothing better than just building this groundswell of people who believe it is their right and their birthright to be the best. And then you got support the whole way going to the top. Love it.
Bo, some rapid fire questions here I've got for you. You talk about the never do again list. Now, I'm a to-do list guy. I love checking things off, but I love the idea of a never do again list. Can you touch upon that, please?
It's the most liberating exercise I've ever done.
Oh, talk to me.
Yeah, so think about the things you do not want to do anymore. Think of them and think small, think shallow, think big. So think, do I want to take the garbage out anymore? Do I want to fold laundry anymore? Do I want to cut the grass anymore? Do I want to decide what I'm going to eat, or do I want that decision outsourced elsewhere? Do I want to cook my own meals, or do I want them cooked for me? Here's one of mine, and then I did this about 5 or 6 years ago, and I know it may sound crazy to some of you, but I hate being on the phone. It's not empowering to me. I don't like it. I don't like having to answer it. I don't know why. Maybe I'm weird, but it was taking a lot of energy for me to be on the phone. So I said, my never do again list was, I'm never going to be on the phone again. And as soon as my wife took that off my plate, and then my team took it off my plate, I am not on the phone anymore. Unless I call my mom or something, like that.
I love it.
But I can't tell you the weight that came off of my shoulders having the freedom of not ever talking on the phone again.
Wow.
Isn't it? So think about what that is for you, because here it is. I want you all to think of yourself like a thoroughbred racehorse.
That's right.
So think about what thoroughbred racehorses do. What do? They do one thing. They run, and they run fast. That's it. Mm-hmm. They don't think about what they're going to eat. They don't think about who's going to train them for their next race. They don't think about anything. They run, and they run fast. That's how I want you. That's how you get to that's how you get to the top very quickly. Now, a lot of you might be saying, oh, Bo, I can't afford to get a cook and this. I know. I couldn't either at first, but you got to make the commitment. And then you watch, because you're wasting a lot of energy and thought on things you shouldn't be doing, like being on the phone. I don't want you doing that stuff. Look, if I'm committed to being in ideal shape, right, for a 58-year-old. Todd is too, right? But I'm not committed to going like this. So what am I going to do for my workout today? Maybe I'll do some curls, and then I'll do run, and then I'll sprint. I don't have the brain capacity to do that anymore. It takes too much energy. So I outsource that. I pay a person like Todd to take care of that for me, because that's his dream. That's what he does. That's not what I do. I'm committed to a great body, right? But not the creation of that body. I'll run the miles, but I don't know how to get myself in the best shape. Todd does. Think of that, and think of yourself like a thoroughbred racehorse, and run fast, and you will get to the top quick. And the team around you just gets so good. They're so good, and they get to fulfill on their dreams while helping you make your dreams come true. And then you get to the top very quickly.
Bo, I want you to go one step deeper, because I think here's what happens. I think people hear us, because that's my same philosophy, but we get stinking thinking. We have limited beliefs of all of these things sound great. We know we need to do it, but then fear sets in, and we're like, well, I don't have the money to go to that program. I can't afford that program. Even though you know that it would be a really good program, and it's going to open up Pandora's box, and it's going to help your business, or it's going to help you personally, it's going to help you grow. How does even the declaration, or how do you overcome what I call stinking thinking, the limited belief system, so that you can live to be the best? That's always like, get your mind right. Get your mind right. Like, how do you overcome that? One step deeper.
Yep. So your declaration has to supersede all else.
Okay. Good.
Right? So we have all these loyalties in our life that are kind of false loyalties, right? Your loyalty is to this thing, this calling that pulls you forth, this dream, if you will. You had it as a child. Now you're an adult. You may have forgotten it. But that's the true loyalty to that. That supersedes every other decision. So here it goes. So say I want to be the best safety in the world. And there's a chocolate cake sitting here. What do I opt for? The chocolate cake or the best safety in the world? The best safety in the world has to supersede everything else. So does being the best safety in the world, does that equal being on the phone? No, it doesn't, does it? Unless I'm talking to the best safety in the world that's helping me, that's one thing, right? But just wasting time on the phone or taking out the garbage, that's not fulfilling on the loyalty of my dream. Most of us think it's our loyalty is to take out the garbage, and it's not. It's not. Once you make the commitment to stop with the garbage, you're going to have enough money to pay somebody that takes out your garbage. You will. It's the commitment to the declaration that counts the most. Even though you're thinking right now, I can't afford it, I can't do it. I'm telling you, I know you can't yet because you're not at the top yet. You're on this journey, and on the journey, it's going to get more narrow, and there's going to be less options for you. Here's the problem. Our society, we have way too many options. Kids these days, When I grew up, we had 0 options. That's why there's no plan B for your A game. We had one option. That was to be the best safety in the world. That's it. That's it. My dad didn't have a ranch that he was going to pass down to me and say, here, son, just follow in my footsteps and take on the ranch. He didn't own his ranch.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? There were no options but to be the best. If you don't have any options, you're going to end up at the top. So you got to remember who you are. And you are number one already. You just don't know it because you've been inundated with a culture that says you're not. And I laugh at those people. And I say to them, maybe you should take this up with Mother Nature because she says I am against 300 million to 1 odds that I was born on the day of my conception. On the day of my conception, there was 300 million sperm delivered, just like all of us. And I won the first race I ever entered. And so did you. And so now I'm in a world that I'm supposed to pretend I'm not the best when I beat all the odds and I outswam all those other sperm and I fertilized that egg and I was born number one. And now I'm supposed to prove to the world that I'm some mediocre somebody who has to take the garbage out? No way. You're not made that way. That's why it's easier to be the best.
Man, if you're exercising right now, you just got an extra 50 push-ups in, an extra 100 squat jumps. Y'all are fired up, and you're going to be walking around all day like, I am the best. I am the best. People are going to be like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with him? You're like, yep, I am the best. And so are you too. So, hey, when you talk about I am the best and this in a world of distractions, Bo, you hit the nail on the head in a world full of distractions. You even talk about like how do you dance around the distractions. If you're a kid and you talk about social media, you're saying I declare I'm not going to be on the phone. What advice would you give to a kid or a high performer who recognizes they're distracted and they need to get the focus? Because you talk about WTF, what the focus? Bo Eason's living WTF, what the focus? This is uber focus we're talking about. How, if you want to get control of your life and you want to get to be the best, which takes discipline, it takes focus, how do you eliminate some of these distractions? And what does it mean to dance around the distractions?
Yeah, pretty great question. And it's simple to fix. First of all, if you're distracted, if you're looking at your phone and you're distracted by all these shiny objects around you, then you're not playing a big enough game. Your game must be bigger. It's too small. Way too small.
Preach.
Like last night, well, I know this is recorded and we'll play it in the next few days. But
it's all right.
So when you watch Drew Brees, one of Todd's guys, he's under center. There is 100,000 people trying to distract him. There is 11 guys trying to kill him. That's a big distraction. There are coaches. They're the smartest people in the world trying to knock him off his game on purpose. Is he distracted? No. Why not? Why is he not distracted? There's cheerleaders over there. There's cameras over there. There's people booing him over there. There's 11 dudes trained to kill him over there. He has a big game to play called I'm going to be the best quarterback in the world. He has to win the Super Bowl. That's the game he plays. So all this distraction, he just dances with it. He includes it. He's very inclusive of the distractions. They don't distract him. He's inclusive of them. He goes under center. They're booing. He hears it. It's not that he doesn't hear it. He sees it. It's not that he doesn't see it. He includes it. So he actually is in a dance with the distractions around him. Which you're going to have to learn to do too. You're going to have to learn to dance with the distractions and up the game that you're playing so that it takes priority, and then you dance with the distractions that are around you and you still get to be on top. Most people get distracted by the distractions. The greatest, if you take Navy SEALs or Green Berets, when they're charging a beachhead and bullets are going over their head, do you think they're distracted by their social media posts? Do you think they're distracted that their kids are back in America, you know, protecting some other kid from a bully. They're not thinking about that. They have a big game to play called life and death. So they're not distracted by anything. They're dirty. They have to go to the bathroom. They're hungry, but bullets are going over their head. That's a life and death game. You and me got to up our game. So it's like a Super Bowl. So it's like charging a beachhead. And then when there's distractions coming at you, begin to dance with them.
Are there specific distractions that you would tell your kids to stay away from?
I would start to name the most obvious. Here's a rule we have in the Eason household.
I love it.
Which I hope all of you put in your household. So my son, all his buddies are playing like that Fortnite game, right? Like that, they're all talking about it, and he's never played it, right? So, but his buddies want him to play and want him to be distracted by these video games. And here's the rule in the Eason household. You can only play a video game that you're actually in the video game. Yeah. Like you're in it. and so when I was a few years ago, somebody told me, hey, Bo, you're on my Madden team or whatever it is, Tecmo Bowl or whatever the video is. He says, you're on my team. And I go, I'm not on your team. He goes, no, you're on my video game. You're a really good player. And I'm like, I didn't even know I was in a video game. I've never played a video game. And so then I came up with the rule that you can only play video games that you're in.
I like that.
So now that's a game to play. That is a game to play, right?
I love it.
It's like you gotta earn the right to be in the game. Then you can, distract yourself and play it. So that's the number one rule I would start to implement in every household across America today.
And that's pretty good. And having 2 high school students and a middle school daughter, what I always talk about is, hey, kids, if you're listening in, when you're doing your homework, at least turn your phone off. Turn your phone off because you're on Instagram, you're on Snap, you're on TikTok, you're doing these things, and it takes about 12 to 20 minutes to actually get focus when you're studying once you get distracted. And Bo talks a lot about distraction in his book, but the focus it takes to get back, you've wasted time, and you don't have time to waste when you only have a 2-hour window to get all the schoolwork done in middle school, high school, elementary school, because you get a lot of work. So I love that. Well, I have 2 more questions for you as we wrap up today. You talked about something called the 66-day challenge, the 66-day challenge. How does that work into your whole book and declaration, and what is that?
Because I love long timelines. I love long timelines because I'm guaranteed 2 things if there's a long enough timeline. 1, I'm going to reach world class. I'm going to be a master at that thing because of the long timeline, because science has proved that. And number 2, I have guaranteed myself to reach the top. It's a guarantee because everyone else's timelines are so darn short, right? And then they quit. The 66 days also gives me a nice window. There's a study that's done out of the University of London. It's the latest study about habits. Remember they used to say it takes 30 days to change a habit or 21 days. Well, the latest study says this, Todd. If you do something for 66 days in a row, so say that's don't eat sugar for 66 days in a row, on day 67, it's actually harder to eat sugar than it is to not eat sugar. So think about that. If we do something for 66 days, it's almost impossible to go back to that habit, that bad habit, whether it's sugar or running or training or whatever it is. And I like taking the 66-day window because me and my kids, we cross them out, the 66 days, right, of not eating sugar or and we take these little windows. So my son has to be the best athlete on the planet in several years. So we'll take 66 days and go, let's master in 66 days the art of ball handling. so that it's a complete struggle. I mean, ball handling the basketball beyond your current capacity, meaning you have to struggle, meaning it's really hard, meaning you're losing the ball like every other dribble. And if you do that for 66 days, now your body starts to get used to the struggle. And it starts to go, struggle's not so bad. Actually, that's the only way to improve.
That's right.
It's the only way to get better is to actually work beyond my capacity so I lose the ball. And after 66 days, you're so accustomed to challenging your body to this new level, and your body will adapt to that new level, that now your ball handling skills go through the roof. Now, put that in your own expertise, in your own mastery, whether you want to be the best ballerina in the world, or whether you want to be the best memorization expert or speaker, writer, whatever it is, science is on your side. You just have to operate for those 66 days beyond your current capacity. And then you'll develop that new habit and you'll never have to think about it again. Like you won't think about sugar anymore. You won't go like this. Should I eat the chocolate cake? Should I not eat it? Should I eat it? Should I not eat it? No. The 66 days has decided that for you.
That's right.
There's no decision power that's going into this. You're not having decision fatigue. You're just operating like the best. That's why we use the windows, because of the timeline is so long that we want to break it up with the 66 days at a time.
Wow. Bo, as a man who for 58 years has heard to be the best, lived it, and had multiple experiences, what's your declaration today? What do you say to yourself? Yeah,
my declaration today is I want to be the best at creating the best. Right? So what does that give me? That gives me, I'm going to get there because I'm 58. So I got 20 years, right? So it's a guarantee I'll get there. But here's the beauty of it, you guys, that no one thinks about, is there's a group of people, like guys like Todd, people like you, that are going to go with me. You're going to go with me. You're going to be also the best at creating the best, right? And you're going to be the best at your declaration. But you can see how once you declare it, it also creates a healthy competition of true and pure competitors, like Todd and I are, right? So Todd and I love each other, but at the same time, we know hey man, I'm battling to make my people the best. And he's battling to make his people the best. In fact, we're so competitive that he and I will do anything under the sun to make you the best. You know what I mean? It. Like most people have certain limits. Like they won't scream. They won't jump up and down because they don't want to, be embarrassed of themselves. But me and Todd, we're so competitive, we'll embarrass ourselves. We don't care. All we care about is you getting to the top. Oh, man. That's it. That's so funny. That's why Todd's so crazy, and that's why he'll do anything. But those are the kind of people who go all the way because it doesn't matter. They're going to put in the work or get down and do 80 push-ups on the spot just so that it's possible.
Man, I don't think
I was just going to say so that's even another reason. So if you're thinking, well, Bo, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be, too big for my britches and embarrass all my friends, that I'm trying to be the best at this thing. They are coming with you. Some will leave, but that's not of your call. That's their call.
That's right.
Most of them will go to the top with you. That's just how this goes.
I'm so fired up right now. I might have to go get a second workout in the day. By the way, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go, and I haven't laughed and smiled so much in an hour than right now. So I have one more question for you, Bo, and it may surprise some people, but you're probably thinking about this. with all of the best talk, be the best in the world at what you do, and there's no plan B for your A game, what about failure? What if it doesn't work out? Because I think everyone wants to win. I coach the high school, I coach the pros, I coach little kids, I coach people that want to lose weight. But the bottom line is everyone wants to win a championship. Everyone wants to be good. But hey, what if you fail? Can you just touch upon that?
I will. It is the name of the game is failure. Right? I know that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, especially when you say it to kids. Because for some reason they're being, kind of indoctrinated with, if it's not easy, then don't do it.
Right.
And I always say, why? That's no way to go through life. Because struggle is if you're going to reach the top, struggle is a biological necessity for reaching the top. There's no way around this, people. I wish there was. I'm kind of happy there's not. Because I'm used to struggle. I'm used to getting my butt kicked. I'm used to having a bloody nose and skinned up knees day in and day out. Even though it may not look like that to you today, I'm constantly facing failure, struggle, and rejection every minute of every day. That's what it is to attempt to be the best. But what that promises you is you get to be attractive for the next 20 years. Amen. And I'm not talking about just like physically attractive. I'm talking about money is attracted to certain energies, if you notice. Money is attracted to you. People are attracted to you. The right people are attracted to you. Luck is now attracted to you because nobody, think about this in your own marriage or your own attraction to other people. Were you ever attracted to anybody who had an easy road? Were you? Never. Isn't that funny?
That's right.
You're never attracted to somebody who had a silver spoon in their mouth. Why is that? Because it's not attractive. People who struggle, people who face their own demons and supersede them, those are the people we fall in love with. Think of every movie that you love, whether it's Gladiator or Rocky or The Wizard of Oz. You fall in love with the lead characters because of the struggle. You fall in love with Dorothy because of the Wicked Witch.
I love it.
Are you going to fall in love with a girl from Kansas just skipping down a yellow brick road? No way. No way. You're going to fall in love with her because she had to face those damn flying monkeys. And she won, that's why you love her. Same is true for you and me. So failure is a part of my life. I wear it like a proud suit. And it's a part of your life.
Man.
That's the only way people can be attracted to you.
You said Rocky, and I couldn't stop thinking about my man Rocky Balboa. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bo Eason, I can't thank you enough for serving today and just dropping so much wisdom and knowledge to our people today who all strive for excellence but need to be reminded of the power within them. You've heard me talk 1,000 times, folks, about the power is already there. You have to tap into it, tapping into your whispers and going for greatness and excellence. And again, when you hear that quote from Aristotle, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Bo Eason just dropped some absolute knowledge bombs on us today about just what it takes to be the best in what you do. What is it that you want to be the best at? And there's no plan B for your A game. I can't encourage you enough to go out and get the book. Go out and get the book. And if Bo has a live event coming up, definitely attend that event. Bo, his wife, Dawn, his amazing team. I know when I went out to his live event, they treated me like just a rock star. And I can't thank you, Bo, and your team enough for what you guys are doing. And you're making the world a better place to live. And to me, I call that impact. That's why we call this the Impact Show, is I try to find people who are making a significant difference in the world. And when I think about all of the people that you are impacting, from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you.
Yes, thank you, Todd. It's so fun to be on a podcast with like-minded people and people that really believe in being the best. It's just awesome. And and right back at you with all that you're creating and all the impact that you're having and that we're having together. I love it.
Bo, beside your book, they can obviously pick it up in local bookstores or on Amazon. Where can people follow you and reach out to you as well? Because it's not the phone. I know it's not the phone.
Yeah, it's not on the phone. Yeah. BoEason.com is my website. There's all kinds of information on there about the events and stuff. And if you want to know more about the book, it's book.com, boeasonbook.com. And pick it up, start your declaration, then start to post them, and we'll check them out. We'll go public with them.
And guys, you know I'm a big Instagrammer. Follow Bo on Instagram, Bo Eason 21, Bo Eason 21. Take a snapshot of this podcast cover and then tag Bo, tag myself. We'll take a look at that, repost that. Create your declarations and declare what the heck you're going to be the best in the world at what it is that you do. So, Bo, thanks for being on the show today. I so appreciate all that you're doing. Congratulations on your new book, and thanks for the impact that you create every single day.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it, man.
Have a great day. Today's podcast is sponsored by carnosine beta-alanine, an ingredient found in the top pre- and post-workout supplements. Along with the right training program and proper nutrition, carnosine helps build strength, endurance, and power. It works by buffering lactic acid in the muscle, which allows you to train longer and harder, plus speed recovery so you get back at it faster. Carnosine gets me dialed in for my workouts and keeps me going strong when exhaustion hits. The recommended dose is 90 grams over a 28-day period, which equates to 3.2 grams per day every day. So yes, I take it on my non-training days too. Carnosine is backed by over 55 scientific studies and contains 0 banned substances. And that's important when you're competing at the highest level like many of my athletes, or you just want to perform at your highest level also. Find carnosine in pre-workouts, post-workouts, or in standalone products at your local health food store. Look for the carnosine logo on the label to be sure you're getting the real deal. If you want the most out of your health and fitness program, choose carnosine beta-alanine. I'm confident it will help you like it helps me. To see the full list of carnosine verified brands and to purchase, visit www.team.carnosine.com. Again, that's www.team.carnosine.com and go to the Find Carnosine button in the drop-down menu. Build a better muscle with carnosine.